be here tonight. So who wants to fire into that first?
Probably I'll do it. Yeah, so we do understand in the history is in the bear market, that'll be time for us to focus on building the product and shipping the product. And for that particular reason, we actually, I think, one of the few projects were able to pivot away and focus on the Web2 adoptions, while we are having a tough time on the Web3 native, meaning that we'll run a lot of campaigns to particularly position ourselves to speak the language of the Web2 people, and also to run campaigns to target to them. So the Strava Ambassador program is one of them. We are rolling out to particular targeting to the running community, and we are doing this across several of other communities, which will start to have the campaign rollout in the next couple of weeks. So although that everybody got hit by the bear market, I think we are still slowly growing. So we not growing as fast as before, but we're still looking at around 20,000 daily new users onboarding. Many are either from more of a Web2 environment that are not sensitive about the crypto crash or stock market crash, or from where people wouldn't be able to afford it. Now they are, so they came in. So it's very much still growing, but slowly. And we expect we picking up the growth rate once we fully targeting the Web2 audience by having the appropriate channel and staff, and also talking in their languages.
And with the rumors, Jorn, I mean, it was kind of said that you were banned. You were going to be banned from that. So, I mean, do you want to talk on that a little bit? I mean, it was kind of weird. It was a strange time for everyone.
Sure. I mean, there are so many rumors out there, and we had a laugh basically internally and talk about it of the market speculations. But it's really, as we are growing, we feel that we want to have professional people dealing with professional things. And I've been always, known as talking too much or sharing too much. And sometimes it's hard fact to true, but I talk about it. And for that particular reason, I think there are people having opinions of what I said. And I mean, now we are having Shitty to act our spokesperson and to basically have a better communication with the community. But me and Jerry also gonna talk about more on a technical update from time to time. So it's not really getting banned. It's really that we are having more people and more professional people now working with us, that we will delegate some of our tasks, because before that, I'm the BD, I'm also working on the dev, I'm working on the marketing, I'm working on all the front end, spokesperson of the company, and it's just too much, right? So to a point that we're getting really exhausted. We don't have time to focus on the product, but it's really about me and Jerry are doing what we're supposed to do to ship product.
Oh, that is awesome. That is really good. So I mean, there was a stage you were doing 10 to 15 shows a week. So you're just kind of saying now we're going to be bringing in Shitty to handle a lot of that workload and allow you to free your time up and actually get rest first and foremost, and then get into building the product. Yeah.
And also to working on the realm expansion, to working on partnerships. There's still a lot of going on behind the scene, and
All right, very cool. Well, then, whilst we're at that point, then how about we learn a little bit more about Shitty? So, because we haven't really had her in the public spaces so far, in the open ones we've seen here with the AMAs, whereas we had Mabel on stage. Shitty, do you want to welcome yourself to the stage and let us know as much as we can about you in the space?
Sure. Thanks, Bondog. And welcome to everybody. Actually, this is our first town hall on Twitter Spaces. And the reason why we're doing that is the reason why we exist, to broad base our accessibility, to make sure as many people as possible can access Web3. That's been the singular most biggest goal of STEPN, and we're working very hard towards that. Right, so about myself, my name is Shiti. I'm an electronics engineer and MBA by degree. Started my career about 15 years ago, launching Wall Street Journal in India as digital offering. I then moved to work with PepsiCo in the US, managing the digitization of their global portfolio of power brands, the 12 brands across the world. Then came and worked across Europe, Portugal, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, in 3D printing of food. And then I came to UK about 7 years ago and founded my own startup where we developed AI solution for posture in workouts. So I've really loved this space of fitness and cutting edge technology, which is what made me realize the power and social impact of it on communities. And that's why I love STEPN. I've been here since we were like a couple of thousand daily active users, and seeing this journey has been a ride of a lifetime, and reading the lovely testimonials that users send in on how STEPN changes their life day in, day out is the biggest joy I get.
You said you built the AI side of things, not AI side of things, but did any of that come into the game as well for STEPN?
We are bringing AI side of things into STEPN. I'm not doing that. There are many, many more qualified engineers working on that for the last 3 months, and we will be talking about SMAC, our anti-cheat AI engine built on that. But before we start talking about app and upgrades and features, I just want to reiterate on the communication bit that Jon has already touched. For what it's worth, Jon and Jerry are pretty much at the helm of the things. They are the smartest co-founders I've met in my career, and they are running the show. So I just want to reiterate that to the whole community here. Having said that, one of the feedback that community gave us, and we take everything seriously, was that we need to focus a little bit more on the product, especially as far as Jon and Jerry are concerned. And that's all that is there to it. That's all. Nobody's getting banned. Nobody's getting muzzled. Nobody's going anywhere, especially not Jon, who communities loves so much and reassuringly has made us realize with their cute, lovely cat memes. Please keep them coming. So he's pretty much here to talk every month with you guys about what we are doing, what we will be rolling out, what we have rolled out. And I'm here just to support and assist them across forums.
I love seeing some of the cat memes from Crit's stage, yawn in jail. It was good. Like, it was good to see the community get behind it, but we spent 6 months of being there, the face 3 of us on a Saturday night. So it was a hard time. So it is awesome to get some clarity on that, and we definitely need it. But what's your favorite sneaker in the game, Shitty? What are you rocking? Joggers, walkers, trainer?
Yes, so I've got about 15 sneakers, mix of joggers, trainers, and very few walkers. Love the game. I would like to play more than I get to now with the hectic time schedules. I think all of the team is working literally 24/7 across so many time zones. But I'm so proud of what Jerry and Jon have built here.
Yeah, I mean, it is awesome to see. Let's get into some of the it though. We want to have a good, concise town hall tonight. So obviously, it is a difficult time. The market's in a horrible position, and kind of, what are your thoughts on that? What's STEPN thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'll kick it off first, and then we can go into granular weeds about the app itself with Jon and Jerry. I just want to establish that we are in a tough place. There is no doubting that. And we completely understand and empathize with people who have been specially affected by it, myself included, by the way. But I just want to say that this is probably the first time that crypto bear market is residing within a bear equity market, which is then nested within probably some of the horrible were macro conditions. And when I say that, I mean like three big epicenters of the world in global economies, right from what's happening in China with COVID and supply suppression to Europe, where there is a war raging right now, and there's panic unfolding in bonds market just literally as we speak right now. And not to mention in the US, where there's inflationary Fed hikes going on. So with these three big epicenters of global economy under pressure, there's just no way that crypto would survive. I mean, that would be odd. And to say the least, STEPN is but only a small fraction of it at the moment. However, we are confident that after and during this bear market, we will be one of the longest standing products. Why? I want to make sure that everybody gets it. STEPN has a fabulous product, an app that very few Web3 products in any way can claim at this stage. We've got thousands and millions of users, which not every company can boast of. And we've got a solid business model that has given even traditional fintech companies a run for their money. A superlative product that real people are using with an unparalleled business model is rare. And that's why please go back to fundamentals, do your own research. These are the kind of projects that people look for in bull market and wish they had invested in and been a part of. So this is the time to revisit fundamentals and at our end to build and consolidate, which is what we're doing.
Sorry, just for everyone listening, I've still got my notepad out. You can't see it on camera, but it is super hard. So we've got everything's dived down. Obviously, Bitcoin's come down heavily, and we still don't really know where we are on the floor of things, do we? So, what kind of where do we go from here? We can talk about the app updates, and let's talk about the last couple of weeks. And obviously, one of the big problems of that with Bitcoin and everything coming down is the GST and the fact that it's come diving down. So, what are the team's thoughts with GST?
I probably will start with the app update first, and then I'll address the GST and GMTs. All right, so we have made several amendments in the past couple of days. One is that we have changed the socket type minting result. So you guys can have a look. It's updated from the white paper. It used to be 85% if it is the same type of socket, but now it's reduced to 70, which gives more sort of possibilities that you're getting a different type. And also we have added the minting scroll, and it will be officially functional tomorrow afternoon. So basically from tomorrow afternoon, people will need minting scroll to mint. And we have made several amendments to the mystery box system. So now have 10 levels, and there's a chance to drop gems, minting scroll, and we have recently today we have add some level of the mystery box also dropped GSTs. So now we actually back to what we originally designed the app. I think for a brief period of time, if Barndock can remember, the mystery box dropped GSTs.
Yeah, back at the start.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean, that's a lot of extra stuff. So sockets going to 70%, that's a lot of variation in that. Minting scrolls. So we've got less than 24 hours on the minting scrolls, and the mystery boxes. I just want to clarify on the mystery boxes because there's not a lot of information in the white paper for that. I have a video out tonight, but obviously people getting the first couple of levels are a little bit confused because they're seeing nothing in those. So this was designed back at the beginning as well. The first level mystery boxes with a low luck, you may not actually get something. So do you want to talk a little bit about that, Ewan?
Sure. So it's because everything dropped by a chance. So level 1 and 2 basically are the lowest level mystery box people can get even with one pair of sneakers. Will be able to only by a chance to get something, but we feel that will be sort of discouraging for people to open it and find nothing, which is not right. So that's the reason we're adding the GST. Basically, people will at least get something, at least some GST or minting scroll, maybe a gem. So that'll be the main change basically everybody will get something even with one pair of sneakers.
And there's a lower cost of forced cost of opening. So it was originally 9 for the level 1, which now becomes the level 3. So the original level 3, so 3 to 7 is the levels for the old mystery boxes. So level 1 and 2 are like 1 GST and then 4 GST to open those up once the times have come down. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So was there any of the other app updates that we wanted to talk about now before we get into?
Yeah. So we have constantly updating on the SMAC, which is anti-cheating mechanics. So there are people thinking if there's anything wrong with it because they cannot see the human or bot sort of result on the history page. But we are actually just rolling out the Turing score system today. Is now an internal score, basically for people that not behaving right. They will having more scrutinies from the anti-cheating mechanics. And we have already identified a whole range of people doing things that not supposed to do, and they are now restricted of what they can do within the app. So be very careful if you are carrying multiple phones or doing GPS spoofing or any other type of cheat. Now we are tighten up as the machine learning itself. The system will get smarter over the time.
And I mean, SMAC is it's going to be huge for the game and for the longevity, realistically, isn't it? Because we've cutting down on people earning extra GST for not playing the game.
Yeah, so I think, again, going back to what we see typically on these GameFi fronts, exploiting is always the case, and not even GameFi, right? With any games, exploitation is always the headache. So we have to really having mechanics in place. Meaning scroll and the SMAC will be the start. Over the time, we'll have other mechanics in place, basically to address the overall well-being of the ecosystem. So over the time, we'll see less people are selling and restore the economy back to what it used to be.
All right. And did you want to talk a little bit on DOOR, Jorn? So that's been implemented in the last week, and how is that going to affect the economy of STEPN?
So this is sort of the bigger picture of what we planning to do, and we understand there are so many voices say, this is not sustainable, etc., etc. So really, what we're trying to do is to build a whole range of infrastructures like DOOR, and we have other, a few things we are building at the same time. Yeah.
I think many people don't know what is DOOR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'll explain. So DOOR is our DEX, and so there are so many DEX out there, but we are building this DEX a little bit different. So we will start with 3 stages. Stage 1 will be a liquidity pool that without a front end, and we will starting to sort of migrate our liquidity from the existing DEX we're using, which is the PancakeSwap and Orca, to our own DEX. So we'll gradually migrate a portion of liquidity, and then we'll open up the front end so people can go to the DOOR website and to subscribe to a liquidity provider pair, and they can earn some profit, basically, so from our trading fees. And for the remaining of the trading fee, less than a small percentage of the cost for maintaining the team, we will basically use that profit to go back to the STEPN ecosystem. So meaning that we're building multiple infrastructures that are cash positive. And when we use this positive cash flow to build future of the STEPN, meaning that it's no longer printing money out of the thin air, it will be supported by the profit we're making on other platforms. So Dora will be just the beginning. We starting to building the externalities of the app by tapping into a whole range of pretty mature crypto or Web3 product. So DEX so we have several pretty cool features. For example, that with one, so traditionally you need the stablecoin and then the token to create a liquidity provider pair, LP pair, but we can do it with just one type of asset. And also we are building this on multi-chain, so that for every chain we are building our realms, we'll have a DEX for that. So basically, over the time, we'll be able to open different trading pairs on Dora. So not necessarily only using for STEPN, but we can tap into like a BTC, ETH, for example, or Solana. So that's sort of the long-term plan. So in the next couple months, we will starting to having Dora as a sort of a spin-off and as a side brand we're building concurrently with STEPN.
I just want to add to that. I think Johan's given a fairly comprehensive summary. Dora is one of the biggest steps towards building those external revenue sources, definitely. And a majority of the fee would be used to buy back GMT and NFT sneakers and burn. So once again, towards our mission of having a long, sustainable project, Dora is just one of them towards that. We've talked about, I mean, you mentioned about GST and the questions around that. So whether it's energy bridge that we're talking about, or dynamic mint costs, sneaker synthesis, or DOR, or SMAC, these are all initiatives in various forms, shapes, and sizes to introduce more burn mechanisms in the game, as well as ensuring longevity of the system.
And extra revenue models is important, isn't it? Like, we can't just be reliant on having new users coming into the space. We need to make sure we break that the Ponzi mechanic schemes that people always sort of relate back to.
Yes, I always refer back to, for any new product to gain traction, it's always takes some time. And, yes, bringing new users will buy us a lot of time. And while we are getting new users now, we're still getting 20,000 a day. We will be able to have the time to build a range of good product. And then for all these new users, never been using crypto or buy Bitcoin or buy Ethereum before, then they can say, oh, this is let's say a DEX. And here is for example, a social platform we plan to build in the future. Or like, an NFT marketplace, for example. So there are so many things that we can build. Basically, it's onboarding these new users, and then we have them into several flywheels. And when they master using all these infrastructures, then they are qualified Web3 players.
All right, so let's bring this back a little bit back to the GST, because it's a pretty important topic for community, and it's one of the big concerns. Obviously, starting this as Web3 users, there's a lot of people that are concerned about the price crashing down with the rest of the events. So, what are the team's thoughts on that GST?
So this is the thing, right? So GST is the main sort of mechanics in the app that will produce sneakers, and the new user will onboard where they need the new sneakers. So we have seen that on Solana server or the realm, it has been performing very steadily over a very long time. And it is only the recent event on the BNB realm where we sort of give up on implementing mechanics to having a healthy growth or steady growth of the GSC or the ecosystems on the BNB chain, and then it caused the issue is up and down, the issues that then eventually affect back to the Solana server. So drawing on the learnings of what happened on the both different story almost on the both realms, with the newer realms we'll do things a bit differently. We'll probably do things more. We'll have more sort of regulations or like through mechanics on the GIC price, and because it is the confidence of the entire community on the project. So we do believe that normally, so although the GIC are not interconnected through a bridge on, say, Solana, BNB, or New Realm, we still see this as a whole and still install the overall confidence of the application. So which means once we have the third realms, once the GIC performing very steadily for a month, it will actually affect also the GIC prices on the BNB and Solanas. And this is basically what we have seen on the BNB server. When BNB crashed, it also crashed Solanas. So yes, they are not interconnected, but they are interconnected. And with the idea of the realms, meaning that we will have a second chance, actually a third chance, and the fourth chance. And when we are rolling out these realms, actually we will see or do things that we didn't think of, with the energy bridge, right? So the energy bridge, using the GMT as the sneaker price goes up, you're actually adding petrol on top of the fires. So, and we have changed this mechanics, which means that it will be a steady growth on the new realms, and it will restore the confidence, and also people will come back if they have quitted. When the GIC price performance, I will be very careful of not providing any sort of price speculations, get us into trouble. But you can see that it is all about building on trust and confidence. And with what we've done on Solana, we believe that it will be a very steady rollout and a very steady sort of reinfusion of confidence with the newer realms, and also with the GIC performance. And yes.
We've heard you're mentioning a lot about the third realm and the energy bridge. Obviously, this is a pretty hot topic in the community. The energy bridge, was a lot of people taking advantage. We've seen some numbers from the mediums. People were using 9 energy with one sneaker, obviously using the Solana. So where are we looking with the energy bridge? Is there a conclusive how that's going to go into the next realm, or is it still kind of getting discussed?
Sorry.
The energy bridge. So
yes, the energy bridge. We have tried many sort of different mechanics, but we settled down with the one that we are rolling out now. Is that you can only share one energy from one realms, which will limit how many energy you can have on a new realm, meaning that you will not causing this sort of extreme price actions or pump and dumps, basically. So let's say on the third realms, you will only have 2 energy. So let's say if you have sneakers on the Solana and on the BNB, you will have 2 energies shared to the third realms, and then the energy will actually diminish over the time. So as the time go by, let's say the second month or the third month, your energy will diminish, basically disappear, and which means that it will only give you a sort of a head up by 3 months. After 3 months, you will have no energy channeled from other realms.
Oh, I think it's gonna be a confusing one at the moment. I think the realms, the energy bridge, obviously that's not going to change. The team said so far that the current structure is staying current until the next realm comes out. Can we clarify that a bit more, Sean?
I'll give an example. For example, let's say we have 4 realms, right? So every realm will get 1 energy contributed to the first realm. So the first realm will get 3 energies. And on top of that, you will have your fourth realm sneaker. Then you have 5 energies. and you have five energy for the first month, and then the second month you have 4 energies, the third month you have 2 energies, until you cannot have any more energies shared from other realms. So it's like a diminishing return over time.
Yeah, so that is an easy way of understanding it. Okay, and then does that mean the energy is going to be different on each realm, or say we've got 30 sneakers on Solana and we've got 20 energy, we've got 3 sneakers on Binance, and we've got, let's say, an uncommon and 5 energy. Does that mean that the one sneaker you buy on that last realm, that would all compile up, or is it a shared energy pool?
So you will have particular energy associated with that particular realm. So if you jump across different, let's say, chains, and you will have different display for your energies.
So potentially we could go above that 20. There is going to be a benefit to us.
The cap is still 20, but you can say, let's say you have 9 energy, 9 sneakers on BNB, you have 9 energies. Then you have, let's say, maybe 3 sneakers at Solana. Then you will only have 4 energies on Solana. But but on total, you can only cap at 20. Okay.
That's good. That's a good clarification. And GST, how's that going to be? So is the cap going to be the same for all of the realms, and we use the GMT use case, do we?
Yeah, all realms. It only makes sense to share the GST cap.
All right. And do we have a rough time schedule on the third realm? So obviously we saw a tweet. We saw a tweet saying 4th realm taking offers. So the community is kind of, there's a little bit of concern about maybe being a little bit too rushed are we concentrating on what we're doing now? Yes, with the first 2 realms.
Yes, and again, it's also a yes, because what we discover is, during this desperate time, it's important to build trust and confidence, and this is done. Again, there are people asking, say, oh, why don't you just spend all your money to buy GST and burn back? And then we did the calculation. It's not sustainable, and you will not see GST price goes up by any marginal meanings. So meaning that third realms will be a sort of a way to revitalize and then attract. It's really about getting the noise out there, right? So this is also aligned with what we're trying to do with the Web2 audience. So the third realm is still very much a classified sort of thing. But people think, oh, what happened if you open the third realm and you abandon the first and the second realm, this and that? It's actually not it's actually the opposite of what's going to happen. The third realm, if you attract attention, people say, it's too expensive. How about we go to the first and second realms? And then you are starting to see things recover, because it's all about getting tractions and getting people to come in, and then for them to buy the first pair of sneakers and get them excited. So yes, we are still in the stage of onboarding more users and enable us to build several of projects horizontally, so that in the end we can say, let's use the other product and use that positive cash flow to support the Move to Earn initiative.
All right, very cool. It's definitely going to be one for the future to understand the third realm, the 4th realm, all those kinds of things. So it's something we'll obviously have to revisit down the track. So let's keep moving on. Let's go back a little bit and talk about the mystery box changes, because it's huge. That's the big update for this week. And we've gone from that 5 to 10. So there's a little bit of confusion, but now we've actually got access to people with 1 sneaker to play more of the game. And then we had 3 added at the top. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? So what does that mean with the game and the numbers we're starting to see around luck?
So you remember there's one time people asking that what happened with just 1 sneakers? Why can't it feel like left out, left behind and they can't get a mystery box, which is one important part of the app. So for that reason, we increased the number of mystery box from 5 to 10, and among them, so we add 2 types downward. Basically, let's say one sneaker with 5 locks will be able to get a level 1 to 2, maybe 3 mystery box, and then we're also adding another 2 upward, which basically will giving more reward for, let's say, once we have because epic, right? So for the epic and legendary sneakers, I think we want to have them more rewarded, and we're adding 2 extra on the top of sort of the 5 types before. So it's really about to look after the people wouldn't be able to get sneakers, and also for the players that are having a lot of luck and feel that they were getting the same deal. For people are doing like 25 or extra 50% of energy streak.
So with the, you're mentioning it, which is a very big one for the community playing the game, the 125% energy trick, that's still active in the game then, and people are able to get those level 8, 9, and 10, the new ones, Enchanted, Master, Satoshi. That's still going to be part of the game for us?
Yeah, but they also going to need a lot of luck, which means that they will need a much better luck gems. It's really about to put luck gem, basically empower luck gem a little bit more, because let's say in the past, let's say you do the 25% or 50% trick, you will be very much have a chance to getting the legendary one, but you wouldn't be able to get a level 10 one or level 9 one with only a small luck value. That's become impossible.
It's still weird seeing a legendary mystery box, which is now level 7 and it's purple, like seeing that box. So scrolls are coming to the game now. We had that 48-hour timer, as you've mentioned. We've got less than 24 hours now before they come into effect. I guess first off, is there a shutdown needed to flick that switch so that the scrolls are going to come into effect, or is that just going to be seamless at a set time?
It will be a switch, but it will not causing any maintenance times. I don't believe it. Yeah.
And it's still, I guess, with the mystery boxes, with the scrolls, the gems that are coming out of it, there's still people confused because we don't have a list of what you're going to get as to where the scrolls are going to come out at what levels. So do you want to talk a little bit about that, Jorn? Because it's still people are a little bit confused. They're getting these boxes with nothing, or they're getting no scrolls. So is that going to be a hamper on people minting?
Yes, 2 things, right? So one, that people get nothing. The issue with that has been fixed today. And the second, with the people, people only getting, let's say, gems, not scroll. The scroll drop by chances, same as with the gems. So there are people got the scroll, but they don't need it. They're selling on the market. So it's really, remember that we talked about this like a month away, that this is the way that we tackle with the mint farms, and which is sort of one of the reasons that get us to this, sort of issues we have. So really to prevent that happened with minting scroll is really to reward people that are regularly exercised, are getting the mystery box open, got the minting scroll, then they can sell it, and the profit of minting will be offset by the sort of minting scroll purchase on the market, and it will effectively also help with the inflationary of the sneakers, because with less minting scroll, there's not much sneakers. With more users coming in, we will start to see the sneaker price recovered. So it sort of has a mixed use. Yeah.
So realistically as well, this is going to add a potential, not being, I don't want to say luck meta, but this is going to bring luck more into play the mystery boxes, 10 levels. It's going to be another version of the game people can play if they're not farming GST or GMT when that eventually comes into the game. It's another meta, another version of the game that can be played.
Because you have to know, so for higher minting scroll levels, they have to come from a higher level mystery box, which means you have the higher level of luck. You have to have more sneakers because you need the energy to get the higher level of mystery box. So it's all now interconnected. You can't just get a higher level sneakers by accident. You have to work for it now. It become more and more sort of strategic, and for people that after for the higher level of sneakers, meaning that they have to go through several sort of hurdles, basically. So meaning that the price support of sneakers will become stronger over time.
And of course, we mentioned this in the space today, the GMT then being used as the buy sell price token on the marketplace means that's another burn strategy in the end.
Yes, it's really adding extra layer of use cases. So yeah.
All right, so I mean, let's keep going because obviously time we're 45 minutes into it now. Minting cooldown, we changed that recently from 48 to 72 hours. Did you want to? What's the motivation? Why did we bump that up? That's the first time that's been adjusted.
It's just different ways we because really the GST price is supported by the sneaker prices, right? When sneaker prices goes up, people are likely to mint, meaning that they are likely to buy GST to mint, selling to the new users, etc., etc. So it is important that in this bear market, having a sneaker price support is important, and by prolong the minting cooldown, we actually are reducing sort of the speed of inflations of the sneakers. And we're actually trying to create, as we pivot away to focus on the Web 2, having Web 2 people to buy sneakers, then we're trying to digest the sneakers on the market along with the 5-to-1 sort of a sneaker to have higher levels, so higher quality one, is really to digest that stock and then to gradually getting more users and set the whole sort of ecosystem on the right track.
Yeah. It's good. It'll be interesting to see how it does change it. And when you say support, just for people not understanding crypto terms, you mean floor, to find a support, so that it sits and it won't go higher. So it's important for people to understand. Yeah. All right. So let's. There was one more thing definitely about the minting changes that there was talk about there being a slight increase in the minting cost, but it actually was almost double. So it kind of pivots us back to where the minting cost originally actually started back in December, but then they were halved because the cost of GST the price was high, so the team brought it down. But do you want to talk a little bit about that? It's kind of affected people differently. Obviously, people newer in the game now have to pay that twice amount. But how did the team come about with the GST doubling that? Well, not doubling GST, but overall increasing that price by a fair chunk.
Is again, with this, with any GameFi, the essence is about adjust the cost and to sort of regulate the ecosystem. So same logic. With the like a double minting or like a double twins. Now we have in these tougher times, meaning that we'll increase the cost of sneakers. It's all part of the sort of having the floor price support by making it cost more GSTs, basically. So overall, it's really to having less sneakers being produced when it's not necessarily needed. And when we are picking up the pace, let's say have more users coming in, then we'll having different mechanics or policies adjust and to suit that particular situation. So it's really about having different policies at different time of the cycles.
So it means realistically, you're saying down the track we could revisit the minting prices and they could change one way or the other still.
Yes, because what really happened on the BNB trend, with 40 GSC and 160 GMT is super unsustainable, right? So that again is like adding petrol on top of the fires. So we have to change that because models. So to be more one sustainable, and also when the price is so high, then you have to really discourage people to mint rather than to encourage them, because what happened on BNB is that you actually are encouraging them because the higher the price of the sneakers, the costs get lower.
Yeah, the 40 GST, it was pretty crazy that the price to mint was super dirt cheap, and then obviously that the price of BNB for those sneakers was very hard. All right, let's keep moving on. There was a big announcement this week about the synthesis, I believe it is, the sneakers putting in 5 commons to get an uncommon, 5 uncommons to get a rare. There's a lot of talk. People are kind of keen about this. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Because we don't know a whole lot about the synthesis at the moment.
Sure. So again, this is all the models that we trying to implement to reduce the sneaker supplies. And it's really about let's say you have 5 common sneakers and you put them into this separate sort of tab, and then you synthesize them, meaning that you destroy this 5 common sneaker, then you have 1 uncommon. So it doesn't matter if this common sneaker are level 30 or level 5, mint 2 or mint 1 or mint 0, you have 1 brand new uncommon sneaker. And the good thing about this uncommon sneaker is the attribute will be 20, so will be a maximum of 20% more than the uncommon sneaker that is minted. And this apply to the rare, to the epic. So it's really to reduce drastically on the sneakers on the market once people starting to use it.
And how are we going to determine the sneaker types, the gem socket colors? Is that going to be factored in similar mechanics to what we have now with minting and gem sockets?
Yeah. So with current one you have like a pair, so it's 50-50, and with the synthesis is like a 20%. Then you have 5, it'd be 100%. Yeah,
I see. So this is a guaranteed. You're not going to put them in like a gem press.
Yeah, it's a guarantee.
And there'll be a cost. Is that going to be both tokens?
Yep. GS to GMT.
All right. There's a lot. So do we have a rough time frame on that as to when that's going to come into the game? Is that one of the next features to get built out?
It is the next feature. So we roll out this minting scroll update, then the synthesis will be the next update.
All right. That's good. All right. I mean, we're going to have so many questions, and coming in once a week is once a month is going to be a lot harder. Obviously, some of the AMAs that we had weekly were a little bit dragged out, but there's going to be so much more content. So let's go a little bit more now. We'll come off the game questions, but there's been a lot of FUD in the community, in the crypto market in general, and a lot of that's been around STEPN being a Ponzi, not sustainable, not long term. And it's been a hard time in Discord, on Twitter, for that level of FUD that's been there. So what is the team, what are the extra things the team are doing to kind of deal with this?
It's really about to create these externalities at ASAP. So the Realm is one of them, to bring external ecosystem partners to work with like a private server type of STEPN. That's one. And the Dora, which is the DEX, is another one that we use in the trading fee to go back to build ecosystems of STEPN. As long as as well as a few others we're building, which I'm not allowed to say. But it is a thing, right? So yes, you will need new users to grow any business models, right? So we've seen the Web2 company use it to compensate, for example, with Uber, with the DoorDash, for example. It's all this. It's overcompensate users to get them into a habit of using services, and then the compensation will stop. Exactly the same case, but we basically using the tokenomics to encourage users and to gamify their health and to gamify, with NFTs. So I think people are overly use these Ponzi terms, and they call, oh yeah, this is Ponzi. That's overly irresponsible, right? So when we talk about Ponzi, you are paying somebody with other people's money, but what we're trying to create is a value, and for people that don't believe it, then they can fight. But really, we do believe that we are creating value for the users. I was having a joke with a few friends, and they were saying that they're using STEPN and they feel like it's like an aphrodisiac, right? So to improve their lives, I so it's a value we created, and we can see that with all the feedbacks, right? It's not all negative, right? There is positive. There's the values created.
Definitely, there's a lot of testimonials coming out. Like, we hear them on many of the spaces I do. I can even give my own testimonials. So, getting towards travel and doing these live events and stuff, and then seeing the people having some great stories. And we've had a long time to build before this bear. Ultimately, the last 6 months. It takes 2 to 3 months to build these projects. So, to build up the habits and to get people to continually do those habits. So, what from there, Jorn, did you want to talk any more on the SMAC or on the DEX that's coming out, or shall we sort of start to look at getting? We had a few questions from the community as well. Do we want to get into those?
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah.
So we do need to come up with a different structures, but I'll just, while we're talking about this now, next month may be a little bit different. We'll give people a little bit of a chance to write up some questions previous to the town halls. But today there's a few questions here, and one of them is talking about the DEX, the DUA, a 1% fee from a DEX. That's kind of expensive in comparison to other DEXs. So how do we break that down for STEPN? How do we justify that as being fair and competitive?
So you have to understand, for stage 1 of the DORA is basically replacing the existing DEX we are using, which is external providers. And we feel that for people that are cashing out, sometimes that portion of these fees should be contributed back to the community for people that didn't cash out, for example. So 0.3% of that 1% trading fee basically goes to the liquidity providers, basically for providing liquidity for obvious reasons, which is pretty much on par with any other DEX out there. The difference is that the 0.6% of this 1% fee will be held at a separate address, basically to give back to the STEPN communities and ecosystems. Shitty have touched bases on this, for example, to buy NFT sneakers and burn, to support offline event, building communities, or giveaway, for example, raffles. So those 0.6% will be entirely spent on the STEPN communities, and then 0.1% basically are used for running the DEX.
And I guess just a side note to that, is that going to be in-app? Are people able to stake in the liquidity in the app, or are they going to need to use a website and go and use the front end?
Yeah, they have to use the website. The front end, we will test the DEX, make sure everything goes well, and then we'll open the front end. All
right, let's go to the next one, which is coming back a little bit, circling back to GST. But it is huge. It's been a big one in the community. Obviously, it's a lot of people taking profit, using that as their earnings. But what's the focus on GST as compared to GMT?
So we all know that GMT is a finance supplier. So as we burn it, less supply out there. So it's obvious. But while GMT is an essential part of what we're going to do in the future, we do understand in the short term, GST is almost as important as GMT, and also to the community because they can only earn GST at the moment. So I think I've touched this several times in the prior questions. So we are super aware of the GST and also the economies of GST. So basically, all updates we implement is basically to trying to consume more GST or to burn more sneakers, which basically think in a way that the sneakers are also made by GST, for example. And to have healthier burn rate to create on the Web2 demand, effectively over time, we'll see a healthy performance of GST. So yes, we do understand it is very important part of the ecosystem, and also it is sort of the representation of the user confidence of the project as for now, because GMT earnings not enabled yet. So it's become concern, and we are basically doing short and long-term mechanic changes or activities in future to sort of make a healthier ecosystem, not only for the GST, but also for the sneakers.
And GMT, we're going to get asked this a whole lot. Where are we looking with GMT? Is that potentially anytime soon, or that's down the track? Earning?
The earning, as we mentioned several times before, it will be rolling out after we have implemented the GMT use cases. Basically, we'll come back to that.
Very good, very good. All right. Now, daily active users, we talked on. You've touched on it a couple of times tonight. I think it's a good one. A lot of people are kind of thinking, have we shrunk in numbers? You said a couple of times we're growing 20,000 a day. Is there a figure we can have as to what our current daily active users are, or will be by the end of the month?
You know, with all the panic and fears and you know, all this FUD going around, and we thought, oh my God, you know, we're probably going to see the DAU drop, but it didn't. It just it plateaued and then slowly growing. So we probably gonna look at maybe not this month, but definitely we'll hit 1 million DAU next month. So we're still hovering around the 900,000 ish mark. So we were thinking about, you know, everything goes well, we'll have 1 million this month, but obviously the entire market crashed. So we'll little bit slow on that. And we do remain very confident that in Q2 we'll hit that 1 million mark.
Very good, very good. I mean, 1 million, that'll be huge to get to. So that's good. So you're saying around 900,000 at the moment. And I guess we're not going to be able to get all the points tonight. I just want to get that across to everyone. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in from Discord and stuff like that. But the game's at a little bit of a point at the moment where we've had a lot of announcements of things that we're building, that we're implementing. There was all these GMT use cases, but then we've hit a bit of a flat spot with the minting price changes, with the token prices. So for those people that want that game and the excitement, kind of, what have you got to talk about with that? So we talked about a whole lot of things, but some of those haven't been implemented, and it's a long list. Did you want to go into any of those, Sean?
Yeah, we do talk about a lot of the sort of the use cases that you know, interesting mechanics. Again, we have to take a pause months ago, basically to address some of the fundamental issues. For example, anti-cheating, mintings, with servers. So the rollout of the use cases has to be slowed down a little bit. So as we are addressed all of them, we have the smack outs, which is pretty difficult for us to build, identify the cheatings and implement the scoring system. So we do believe that we will roll out the GMT use cases as planned, in stages, basically. So people have to wait. Unfortunately, people have to wait a bit longer for that. But we as a team basically are pretty much wholly focused on shipping product now.
All right, we've done the hour. So, I mean, we've spoken about a whole lot of things tonight. We've talked about the energy bridge, the decks, the Dua, sneakers, mintings, all of the burns that are coming in. I guess, what about the Panda skin was a big one as well. Like that was kind of mentioned. Is there any top up on that? Oh, we've lost you on. Reconnecting. I'm not sure if you want to take that, Jerry or Shitty.
Yeah, so we have stuff lined up on Panda Skins in the coming weeks with the